If you're hurt, injured, don't waste time. Gary Johnson cries for every dime.
Welcome to Simply the Law, a program created by attorney Gary C. Johnson. Simply the Law provides free legal advice and encourages happiness and quality of life. Now, here's Simply the Law with Gary C. Johnson. Hello, everyone. Welcome into Simply the Law. I'm Keith Casebolt, and my good friend Gary C. Johnson back with us.
Isn't it wonderful to be back? We made it another week. We woke up every day. Da, da, da. Isn't that good? Thank you, guys and gals, for being with us. We couldn't have a program without you. We need you, okay?
If it wasn't for you, it would just be Gary and me sitting here talking to each other.
Wouldn't that be terrible if it was just us? But instead, we've got our friends. Our wonderful friends that are learning slowly to be happy, that is learning slowly to not be miserable, learning slowly to not worry about stuff you can't change, right? You're all getting there, though. Some of you are learning to be impeccable with the Word. One or two of you might have learned to not make assumptions. You'll never assume anything, right? All of you have learned to do the best you can do and not worry about what someone else could do. And some of you have got to the point to where you don't take things personal, right?
You know, my friend, when you came out with those 4 agreements, after 1 week, I broke all of them numerous times. And I came back to Gary and I said, I just don't think I'm going to be able to forgive myself. And Gary said, oh, you'll find a way to forgive yourself. So if nothing else, you've taught me that I will find a way to forgive myself for breaking those.
It's a major step if you can just catch yourself breaking the agreements. You've made quantum leaps over other people if you can actually catch yourself doing it. I don't expect you all to just be able to do it, but I expect you to work at it and get there, if you can. Understanding you come with all the frailties of being human, and every one of those agreements is totally contrary to human nature. Okay? Totally.
Hey, we got to tell our friends, you know, Gary always talks about the chatterbox that has this little voice that's in your head that causes you a lot of problems. But the great Joe Namath, the Super Bowl winning quarterback for the New York Jets, he was on a program and he was referring to that voice, and I think Gary and I like this. He didn't call it the chatterbox. He called him Slick. He said, I've given a name for this voice. I call him Slick because Slick can talk you into everything and talk you out of everything. And
I got to looking into it then to see where the word slick came from and whether it was original with Joe Namath. It wasn't. The people that do social work and counsel people have been using it for years and years and years, especially in addiction. They've been using it. About how dangerous old slick that chatterbox is to talk you into doing things that's going to be harmful to yourself. So slick's been around a long time. I called him chatterbox because he's evidently got another name that's old slick, and old slick just might suit him better because he'll sneak around and sneak up on you and get you to. And the thing about old slick is he always wins, because when he tries to talk you into doing something really stupid and you have enough sense to not do it, the first thing that'll happen is he'll say, boy, I'm sure glad you didn't do that.
You know, I didn't realize that until you and I were talking about exercising. And you said, think about it, Keith. When you're getting ready to go exercise, Slick will say, come on, man, let's just lay here on the couch. Let's don't do this. Your feet hurt, your back hurt. But then after you get up and you take a walk, Slick says, don't you feel better? I told you you'd feel better if you'd get out and take you a walk. You're right. He wins every time. I mean, if it's right or wrong, he still wins.
So, my friends, beware of old Slick. Try to deal with him as best you can. That's the chatterbox that tells you you're not worthy. Oh, he's an expert. Old Slick is an expert at telling you you can't do this. He's an expert at saying, that's not you, that's for other people to do. That's not who you are. There are better people than you that do this. All of which is lies that he's telling you to beat you down. And it's yourself doing it to yourself. We truly, without any question, are our own worst enemies.
Amen.
I'll say that again. The only true enemy we probably have is ourselves. And that Slick and that chatterbox trying to convince us we're not worthy and that we shouldn't have this, we couldn't do this, we can't do that, and that other people are better than us. When in reality, there's no better than anybody. We're all the same. So, my friends, keep that in mind. Whether you like it or not, if you have an enemy, it's probably old Slick inside of your brain.
Isn't that the toughest thing to do? To actually walk and look in that mirror and say, I have now met the enemy. Because we do it to ourselves. Why? I don't know. It doesn't feel good. It's miserable. It makes you miserable. But the majority of it comes from us.
The first reaction to almost any given situation that your brain will give you will be negative. Think about it. I want you, this is your lesson for this week. In any type of given situation or somebody's proposing something or whatever, see if instinctively old Slick jumps in and starts the negativity to show that you will look at it in a negative way. Step back, say, shut up, Slick. I'm going to choose, because I can control you, to choose to look at this in a positive way. And I'm not going to look at it in a negative because it'll make me feel bad.
I swear you must have been, someone's told you, because at the office the other day the phone rang and I said, I wonder what problem is. My first initial reaction when the phone rang was, I wonder what's wrong now. As opposed to, I wonder what great opportunity is on the other end of that phone. You're right. We choose.
In any given situation, I don't care what the situation is, for some reason, in our programming and our wiring that the good Lord made us, and it's maybe because to survive over the years, that in any change or different situation or anything happening, we had to look at it negative, otherwise we might get eaten. I don't know. But it's inside of us. You can control it, and you could back up and say, nope, I'm going to look at this positive. Try it this week. Let's take a break. We'll come right back.
When you think about it, especially that part about expecting the negative, I mean, it makes you smile because you do that without even knowing you're doing it. Stay with us. Gary C. Johnson, Simply the Law, right after you see this.
Hello, I'm Gary C. Johnson. I developed a method of representing my clients that I call judo law. My team and I, using judo law, 17 years ago, we set the record for the largest verdict in the state of Kentucky. It's still the record. We have several other multi-million-dollar verdicts over that period of time, and because of that, my case is settled. I wonder why they settled. If you've been hurt, give us a call.
Welcome back into Simply the Law. We ended that first segment talking about expecting bad things. Gary, all of us probably know someone in our life that we say, that's the luckiest person I know. Good things happen to them. I mean, they could land on a desert island and make money. Whatever they touch turns to gold. There's a secret behind that, isn't there?
It's their attitude. I guarantee you that they're happy. I guarantee you that that person you're talking about is friendly. I guarantee you that you are happy when you see them coming. That's the difference. Right here. No reason for you not to do it. Control those slick inside your brain, the chatterbox. Go do the same thing. You're perfectly capable. You have the talent to do anything you want to do. Go do it and be happy doing it. And if you fail, rejoice in the experience of having had an opportunity to fail. So what? There's people that's probably never failed in life, but I guarantee you they've never tried to do anything either. That's just the way it is.
You know what, that is a great lesson. I had a failure not long ago, and the lesson you always teach is, did you do your best? Okay, I think I did. Well, then that was the best you could do. Move on. Try
That's
something
right.
else.
Learn from it. Move on. You can't fail if you don't try to do something. If you do fail, so what? You're just like most everybody else out there at one time or another. Go forward and be happy. And again, think positive, not negative. That's the key to it.
Gary, what was it? Was it Thomas Edison who said, I didn't have 900 failures, I just found 900 ways that it wouldn't work? Now, there's a positive attitude.
He said, when he was trying to do the light bulb, they said, well, what about all this? He said, well, I know of 100 things that won't work.
So he didn't look at it as 100 failures.
Right.
He just looked at it as 100 ways it wouldn't work. So
right.
he was still going on to success.
And he did.
And that's a great attitude.
Let's go to the computer. I want to talk to you folks about some stuff. There's our number in case any of you need to call us. I now have what I consider a fairly nice office in Lexington. And it's put it there primarily to serve people that are traveling from eastern Kentucky down in that area and the people that have moved down there.
Well, you know, the UK games have started back. There's going to be a
There'll
lot of
my
people
friends
on the
traveling
road.
that area. If you get hurt, give us a call. You can find us at GaryCJohnson.com. In general, please make sure you have underinsurance. I'm seeing more and more and more policies come through my office where people have their underinsurance because they've learned. Thank goodness. I'll talk to you a little bit about when you do get run over and you get hurt and it's someone else's fault, there are some proactive things that you need to do. You need to try to document the wreck scene, what happened. If you're able, or have a friend do it, or a relative, or somebody. The police generally don't take photos except in fatality cases. They take them sometimes, but most of the time they don't. You need photographs of the scene that day if you can get them. And again, you say, well, I'm tore all to you know what, and why am I thinking about taking photographs? Well, that person that ran over you will hire a defense lawyer that's paid by an insurance company that might try to say it's your fault. That's why you need to document it.
Plus, a year from then, the scars have healed, the injuries have healed.
Right.
I recently just talked with an individual that had done a wonderful job of doing just what you said. They were hurt. They actually had got you to help them, but they showed me pictures of the accident. They had kept a journal. They'd kept a diary. Mm-hmm. They had written down everything. And I was looking at that and I was saying, this was smart on your part because we can't remember all of the details.
Well, it's like I was talking to a lady the other day that it was a slip and fall. And she was telling me that she didn't remember having a cart. And had she been asked if she had a cart, she would have said no. Yet when you see the video, she had a cart. Our mind, when we're hurt, plays games with our brain. And she was perfectly honest in thinking she didn't have a card. But yet someone would have said, well, she's lying. And when she saw herself on the video with a card, she says, I swear I don't remember. I just don't remember having that card. So you've got to understand, while we think our brain is recording what it should record, it may not be. And that's why, if things are documented, and you have pictures, and you have statements and those things, then you can go back and refresh your memory, and it'll come to you. So if you're in a wreck and it's not your fault, document or have someone document everything. If you got a big bruise, have somebody take a picture of it, because that's very painful to have a big bruise. But yet, if there's no bruise when you get to court, which there won't be, no one's ever going to know that you had that big bruise. So how's a jury going to evaluate your pain and suffering from that bruise that nobody can see? So take pictures, document, or have someone do it for you if you're not physically able. It makes the lawyer that's going to represent you's job so much easier to have that information. Or get with a law firm that has a private investigator, hire them early on, and they will do that for you. It's the lawyer's job to do that. If you don't have a lawyer that's going to do their job, get you one that will, but it has to be documented, okay?
Gary, this day and time, just about every individual almost has a cell phone of some type. Is that the best device to try to go ahead and store that documentation, to take your picture, or even to text yourself notes on it?
I'll be talking to a client that comes in, and they'll pull out their cell phone and say, here's what I got. And I'll say, oh, wee. Thank goodness they had sense enough to take some pictures with their cell phone at the scene and whatever, or someone used their cell phone and did it for them. It's invaluable, that information is. You folks say, well, they run over me. How could anybody ever say it's my fault? Trust me, folks, there's 100 ways that the insurance industry can figure out how to blame it on you. Therefore, it is the minute someone hurts you, whether you like it or not, it's a war.
You know, that was the most surprising thing to me, because I know of a couple of cases that you had, and I said, Gary, this is clear cut. I mean, it's cut and dry. This individual hit this individual. And you said, so you're going to be surprised that the defense is going to put up a defense. And I said, absolutely. I mean, I would think immediately they would look at the facts and say, we'll settle. But they didn't. They did put up a defense.
Every time. Okay? And it's not personal. I'm not saying it's personal from the insurance company. It's not. So don't take it personal. If they're putting up a defense, it's business. They are in the business of making money for their shareholders. They're not in the business of doing anything other than collecting premiums if they can. Now, as a sideline, they pay some claims when they have to. But it's a sideline.
But even when they pay the claims, the goal is to pay less than they have to. Correct?
If you can take someone that's hurt really bad and they were living paycheck to paycheck and they had a home or whatever, and if the insurance company can delay that payment, the payment generally gets less and less with time because the person can't survive. They have to have some relief. Insurance companies know this. They know that if they can delay it, that they more likely than not, unless they got some lawyer that's going to knock that at them, they're going to have to pay less. That's business.
Honestly, though, isn't that added damage? I mean, aren't you doing more damage to the person that's injured by doing that?
Of course. Let's take a break. We'll come right back. Got some more stuff I want to talk to my friends about.
Stay with us, because we're talking about some important facts that could benefit you if you're ever in an accident. Simply the Law with Gary C. Johnson returns after this break.
Hello, I'm Gary C. Johnson. I've plowed with a mule, worked on the assembly line, been a janitor, machine operator, even worked on a garbage truck. When I started practicing law, losing was not an option. So I developed my own system, a system that was so much like judo that I called it judo law. It works. I have the largest verdict in the state of Kentucky. Give me a call, pound hurt.
Welcome back into Simply the Law. You know, we were talking about, I didn't realize the defense would do that, but they not only defend, they come out, if you're not wearing the seatbelt, then they say that's part your fault because you didn't have your seatbelt on. They look at your medications. They look at your driving history. It is amazing to me that when there's an accident and there is 100% sure that this individual hit the other individual, they do everything they can to try not to pay out the money.
You know, has anyone ever known of a seatbelt to cause a wreck or to harm someone? Some innocent person? Yet
No.
that's a big defense. If they'd have just had their seatbelt on, the fact that we ran over them and destroyed their car wouldn't have hurt them. Well, they wouldn't have got hurt if they hadn't run over them either. Let's go back to the computer. I got some stuff I want to talk to my friends about. We're talking about if there's any skid marks, position of vehicles, debris, have someone take pictures of it. Notify your insurance company. Even if you know you're not at fault, you have to notify your own insurance company. Insurance companies require timely notice. You have $10,000 in medical that you can access if you notify the company. Failure to notify will give the insurance company an excuse not to cover you. And you may be entitled to coverage on your own policy simply because you have underinsurance, which I'm sure all my friends have underinsurance, right? UNDER.
Gary, let me ask you a question. You're talking about preserving this evidence on a basis of an accident. If you're not aggressive in doing what you say, what's the timeline for this evidence to start disappearing? The skid marks on the road, the debris on the road, changes in the vehicle. I mean, the clock starts ticking as soon as the accident happens, doesn't it?
Next day. If you let it go a day, week, then the physical evidence is going to be gone most of the time, especially if you wait a week, because highways and things are used so often. Again, if you're able physically or have someone that could do it for you, be proactive and document that scene. Or, give us a call or some lawyer that's got a private investigator that can go document it for them. But get it done. Don't wait. Okay? Very important. Back to the computer. I got a little bit more I want to cover with my folks. Notify the other driver's insurance company that you have a claim if you know the insurance company. Do not give that insurance company a statement, and there's a reason for that. It goes back to your memory. If you leave out one thing that's wrong with you when you give that statement, and it turns out that you have a problem from it, they will use that statement against you to say they didn't get this from the wreck, it happened later. And I did the program on the whiplash, if you'll remember. You can be out there 30 days out before you know how bad you're hurt. If they can get a statement from you within a day or two and pin you down that you've only got one little thing wrong with you, you've ruined your case.
I knew this individual, big man, 6'6", 275, hit from behind. He told everybody at the scene of the accident, "I'm not one of these ambulance chasers. I'm fine. I'm not hurt." 4 days later, he was in the bed, couldn't move, couldn't turn his head, and had to miss 2 weeks of work. But at the time, he made all of these statements that turned out not to be true at all.
So get with an attorney, and after a reasonable amount of time, if you need to give a statement, give a statement. But don't do it without an attorney. And then knowing, really and truly knowing what the extent of your injuries are, because no good can come from you giving a statement, but a lot of bad can come from it. Do you think that insurance company is taking your statement so they can send you a check? Never. They're not taking your statement so they can send you a check, okay?
It's the hope that you will make a statement so they can use your statement against you,
That's
correct?
exactly right. It's not for your benefit they're taking your statement. It's just not. So don't do it. Back to the computer for just a second. Photograph your own car. It's really important. Document the severity of the wreck before the car is repaired or junked. The insurance companies will come and grab those cars and take them off and get rid of them, and then you have no evidence of what happened. Don't do it. Document the severity of the damage to your car before you let anyone take it away and get rid of it. Just don't do it.
That changes everything, doesn't it?
It does. It changes. There's nothing worse for me to try to take care of someone that's been hurt, to get the case 6 months out, and none of this has been done. You start trying to go back and recreate. You start trying to find the car. Well, where did they junk it? Did it get crushed? Is there any way we can find it to get a download of it? We try to get a download of the defendant's car, and if we're in it early enough before they destroy it, because it's amazing the information that's on those vehicles that you can get.
So the takeaway from this program, Gary, is more than likely if you've been in an accident, you're injured, and you're probably not going to be able to do this. But you need a friend, a relative, or someone to bring the cell phone, document everything as fast as you can, and then while you've got that cell phone, dial pound hurt.
Oh, well, I forgot about that.
I tied that in. Thank you so much for the information, Gary. I think tonight we all learned a little bit more than we knew, and hopefully it's going to help you if you're in one of these situations. Thank you so much for tuning into this program. On behalf of Gary C. Johnson, I'm Keith Casebolt. As always, we look forward to seeing you again next week at this same time.
Thank you for watching Simply the Law, a program created by Gary C. Johnson. Until next week, may you be safe, blessed, and happy.